Number one phrasal verb is abide by. Abide by. Now, I did do an individual video for this particular word, for this particular phrasal verb, sorry. So you should already have an idea of what this means. But if you abide by something, it means you accept, obey, or follow a decision or a rule. Okay? So you abide by the rules. You abide by someone's decision. You abide by the law. Okay, so feel free now to start trying to put this phrasal verb into a sentence. Let's practice each one, because by practicing, by just writing it down, it helps to lock it into your memory. And the example sentence I've given here is, students should abide by the school rules. Students should abide by the school rules. Okay, so number two is it's account for. Account for. Let me just hide. Oh, I can't hide the other one. Okay, so account for. To account for something is to explain it. It explains a situation. It explains something that's happened. It accounts for it. So here the example sentence is, they were unable to account for the missing items. They were unable to explain the missing items. So let me think if I can come up with some other examples. If I bake a batch of cupcakes, I bake 10 cupcakes and I leave them on the side to cool down. And in the morning, I come in and there's 8 cupcakes. And I'm like, hang on a minute. When I went to bed last night, there were 10 cupcakes, but now there's only 8 cupcakes. Where are the other 2 cupcakes? And everybody else in the house is like, I don't know. I've never even seen that there was 10 cupcakes. I don't know what happened to the other 2 cupcakes. Who knows? Then the dog walks in. And the dog has cake crumbs around his mouth, then I can say, I think that accounts for the missing cupcakes. The dog ate them. So the dog's presence accounts for the missing cupcakes. And I'll say to the dog, listen, if you're going to stay in my house, you have to abide by my rules. Okay, no eating my cupcakes, you naughty doggy. For. Number 3 on the list is ache for. To ache for something. An ache is like a dull pain. So you might feel an ache in your arm if you bang your arm, or you might have a headache. A headache. But if you ache for something, then it means that you desire it. Or you desire someone a lot, like you're in pain because you want it so much. And the example sentence I've given here is, we have been preparing for this competition for years. I am aching for that trophy. I'm aching for that trophy. I want it so badly it hurts, is basically what I'm saying. So I want you to give me, I'm going to move straight on to the next one, which is act on. Act on. So to act on something, I've given 2 versions of this because there are slightly different meanings. So the first one, to act on something, is to take action. Here, I'll show you. To take action because you have received advice, an order, or a recommendation. So for example, if you give the police some information, the police may act upon that information. Sometimes we say upon and sometimes we say on. They're both the same. So the police may act on that information. If I give you a recommendation, for example, I think audiobooks are a fantastic way to help you learn English. And I always recommend them. And there is a link down in the description box below for a free audiobook trial for 30 days. Now I've given you this recommendation, you might decide to act on that recommendation and go and click on that link and download some incredible audiobooks. So we can use it for recommendation, or I might give you some advice. I advise you to practice English every single day for at least 10 minutes. You might act on that advice. Okay? So it's to take action because of a recommendation, advice, or an order. And so the example sentence I've given here is, the teacher refused. Oh, there should be a little to there. The teacher refused to act on a fashion tip given to him by his students. And a tip is another little word that means advice, to give someone a tip. The teacher refused to act on a fashion tip given to him by his students. Obviously, the students think that he could dress a little better, and they've given him some fashion advice, and he's said, no thank you, I'll keep dressing the way I like to dress. Thank you very much. So the next one here is act out. Act out. If you act something out, very simply, you perform it. You perform it with actions and gestures. And so a very obvious sentence I've given here is this: the theatre company will act out the entire story on stage. The theatre company will act out the entire story on stage. Okay. Number 8 is very similar to act out. It's to act up. Now, I used to hear this a lot as a child. Stop acting up. Don't act up tonight. And again, it means behave badly or not as expected. So you might ask me, how has my day been? And I could say, terrible actually. I was taking the children to school and they started acting up. And I just lost my temper. I started shouting at them, and then everybody was looking at me and I felt so embarrassed. And I hate it when they act up in public. Fantastic. So the next one on the list is add on. Add on. And this is to include in a calculation. So the example sentence I've given here is, Shane has confirmed that he is coming on the trip. So add him onto the list. Last one for today is add up. To add up. And this is to make a mathematical total. And the example sentence I've given here is, perhaps it doesn't seem like we've spent a lot, but when you add it all up, it's a lot of money. Perhaps it doesn't seem like we spent a lot, but when you add it all up, it's a lot of money.